the relationship between dopamine and adrenaline and how it impacts each other. In a recent episode of the Jordan Peterson podcast, Andrew Huberman stated the following. I am paraphrasing, obviously. Dopamine is the main currency we use for everything. So, whereas the main currency in our world is, for example, the euro or the dollar, in terms of our thinking, the main currency for everything is dopamine and how much dopamine we could potentially get from something. But in order to have dopamine in our system, in order to basically get dopamine, we have to do something that potentially is rewarding in the near-term future or in the long-term future. Now, on the other side is basically adrenaline or epinephrine. And epinephrine now is basically the neural energy. This is a phrase he used. So now if we have both of these energies, basically not energies but currencies, the one thing is dopamine, which is our reward energy, or how we make ourselves do things, or how our body makes us do things, and the other one is our neural energy. Then we need neural energy in order to achieve something that then gives us dopamine. But we also need dopamine in order to then get adrenaline, potentially. Because it is basically a unidirectional relationship in terms of the biological structure. So apparently epinephrine is literally made from dopamine. So therefore, here is a slight paradox. Let's say your dopamine system at least is temporarily out of order. For example, because you were exposed to superstimuli in any kind of category. One example he mentioned is actually the postpartum depression, which is basically that the anticipated event of the birth of the child just creates such a big dopamine release that afterwards, compared to the level before, it just drops. And this comparison, or just the level at which then a woman potentially is after the birth of her child, then this is kind of the situation a woman finds herself in, a young mother finds herself in. Now, in a situation like this, and also in comparable other situations like this, you now wouldn't need basically adrenaline as a neural currency in order to then establish things again that then increase dopamine again. But the problem obviously is that epinephrine is created from dopamine. I mean, this is not so much a statement, much rather a question that actually I still haven't answered. And the question obviously is how to get out of this vicious circle of having no dopamine, therefore also not being able to make epinephrine, but also not really having epinephrine, therefore not really having neural energy, so basically thinking energy, that then can actually make you do something that then releases again dopamine.